So now we're into the final Soviet reaction phase. They're going to start by getting some Transvolga artillery as reinforcements. Now you see spots like here. These are where you can deploy them. They don't have much range, though. That's one issue. Let me check to see if this sort of flotilla has any special rules. Okay, so this flotilla can actually be placed in any river hex that has a flotilla line. I'm going to guess that's what this dot is, because I don't know for certain. Oh, yeah, right there. Okay. So I'm going to place it up. It's got a range of, I don't know, 4? I don't know what. It says games turn 2, 4, 3 through 6, 2. Okay, can only attack German units in Riverside hexes, so I guess for game turn 2, it attacks at a 4. And then after that, it attacks 3 through 5, it attacks at a 2. So I guess it can't really attack this turn, but it does get placed. It placed units here, a range of 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they can sort of hit a little bit, but it's not really much to support at this point, but at least they're there and they can help out in this section later on. Dropped another one here. It's got a range of 4, 1, 2, 3. So it gets it sort of in that area. Again, not much of a range. So now, because it's the final turn, what you do for the Soviets is you take 2d6. And they can move 11 units plus 2 around Zhukov, or whatever his name is, Zhukov, for a total of 13 units. So let's see. 1, 2, 3. Let me stop that for a second, because these 2 units move there. 6. They're going to attack. Otherwise, there could be an instant counterattack. So they've got a 6. Oh, they can bring more units up to support. Okay, so they're going to boom, boom, boom. 7. That's boom, boom. 5, 6, 7. Boom. Okay. So this attack just got real. 18 against 10. They don't have the range to help there. 18 against 10. So let's see what kind of attack it is. 1. That's a surprise attack. So that means the main thing is that the damage is simultaneous. So let's start with the Germans on the 10. It's a 10 or 11 column. They're going to do 3. It's going to do 2 points of damage. Soviets are on the 18. No. 18. Which is the 18 through 21. They roll a 3. It's 3 points of damage. Okay, so the Germans are going to lose 2. Oops. And the Soviets are going to lose 2. And there's 1 breakthrough point left. Okay. So let me see, when I last left off, I was wrapping up the final Soviet reaction, and I have to confess that I've lost count of who was doing what. I don't know how many more units they have to move, because I got distracted and had to stop and pick it up in another day. So, I don't know. I'll move a couple more and just wing it. What I might do is I might move some of these down for no reason. You know what? No, I'm going to... I don't know if that's going to do anything, so I'll just move these down. We'll just say that's enough to satisfy there. I don't even remember what I rolled. When I put this together, I'll realize how badly I did it because I'll look at the footage and then see how much I messed it up, but I won't fix it here. So one thing I've been doing wrong is when German units are getting eliminated, they're supposed to go into this replacement box here. So what I might do is, it might not affect anything, but I'm going to start moving those units into that box to get them ready. I guess it doesn't have to be pretty. All right, close enough for now. Because what happens is during the game turn prep stage, which I think is obviously at the beginning of a turn, the German players start to see which ones come back. Now, the procedure of replacements, I wonder, I guess we'll get to it when we get to it. Another thing I messed up is at the beginning of the final Soviet reaction phase, which we just wrapped up, the Soviet player may receive replacement armor. What you do is you look for the tractor works. I think the Red October factory is one of them. The tractor factory and the Krasny October works. Okay. So it's interesting, you know, in the rule book, they have it in Russian, and in the map, they have it anglicized. So I'm going to guess that when they say the, and again, I'm going to butcher the Krasny October works, I assume that's the Red October factory, although let me just double check. It says that also the tractor factory. Now the tractor factory is just listed right here. So I think that's one of them. So as long as we have, wow. As long as we have units there, that's okay. And I'm going to say it's the Red October factory, even though I'm not seeing anything specific in Russian. Okay. So it says if those hexes are occupied by Soviet worker units at the beginning of the final Soviet reaction phase, they were. Replacement armor units can come in. They can exceed stacking restrictions, but they have to conform to the restrictions when the movement's complete. So I guess what I would have done is I would have had to have moved them at some point. I wonder if maybe it follows the same rules as the Soviet ferry reinforcements where they have to move immediately. So maybe I could have just done that and moved it, and it's not that big a deal. Oh, it says here, actually, you don't have to move the armor units immediately. You can move it as it sees fit. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, so I'm not going to lie. I'm not seeing how many armor units I get to bring in. So let me double check that. You know, I've also might have done all this entirely wrong as well. You know, I'm realizing maybe I just kept going back and forth until I went through all the Soviet reaction chits, even though there's nothing on the reinforcement display that tracks it beyond the third. Maybe you just do fourth, fifth, sixth until you run out, and then you get to the final regardless. Sort of an interesting thing. Like, you know, it's one of those things where, you know, now that I think about that, I'm like, oh, yeah, of course. You know, I feel a little dumb for not having put that together. At the same time, I feel like there's also a very simple thing that could have been enumerated explicitly in the rules. You just say, yeah, you know, then you just continue to go back and forth until all Soviet chits have been exhausted. And when the Germans are finally done with that final move, you then advance to the Soviet final reaction phase. But, oh well. I guess I'll know going forward in turn 2 if that is indeed the way it's supposed to go. Okay, so I found out, I think, where the number of armor comes in. So if you look at, say, the tractor factory, I'm going to start pulling some stuff apart here. That's a militia, the M, but that there, I think, is a worker. Let me just double check that. Yes, that's a worker. So as long as you have workers in the tractor factory, there's another worker. Let's see where else. So yeah, we have workers in both of those hexes. Then the other hex you check, the other place you check is indeed the Red October factory. Again, I'm assuming, but there's a worker there. There's a worker there. So we've got both hexes in both factories with a worker chit in them. So what then you do is you roll some dice to determine how many units you receive. And I can place them in either or both hexes of that factory. So let me double check how that works. So it's a D6, and that's how many tanks come in. So here it is for the regular tractor factory. 1, not great. Okay, so that's going to bring in a light tank, which is a 1-0-10 unit. Okay, so here's that 1-0-10 unit. It's going to come in the regular tractor factory. I think I might already be maxed. So what I would have done is I would have brought him in and then say moved him. And even if I don't even have to sort of retcon this because there's sort of like a final strategic movement for Soviet units at the end of the turn where I could, as long as it's sort of free and clear of any German interference, you can move it half of its movement. So I can move 2 movement points for heavy structure. So I'll just go 1, 2. Doesn't really matter. They're going to go somewhere else eventually. They would have flipped. So there's that. And now let's check to see how many medium tanks come in at the Red October factory. Same procedure, 1 die. Here we go. 5, not bad. Now the medium armor units are 2 1/8s. Now here's the weird thing about this game, and again, this could entirely be my fault, but I feel like there's not enough units to cover the Soviet reinforcements. So I don't know if the idea is that they figured why bother printing them? They're just going to get killed and you can refill the chart as you go in. But it just threw me a little bit during setup where I was like short a number of units. So in this case, I don't have any spare medium armor chits to pull in. So I'm going to have to pull them off of future turns reinforcement, which somehow feels weird, but I guess we'll see. So again, what I would do, these guys could accept another stacking if I wanted to, but let's just get these into the neighborhood. And then I will... Okay, so they're in the basic vicinity. They probably would have started... yeah, we got some stuff coming in here. So let's get... Not going to worry about deployed anymore because we're basically done with everything. So let's get these guys... So they would come in the Red October factory, which is here, and then you go 2, 4, 6. They could go there. And let's have another 2 here. Maybe they'll just get rolled, maybe they won't, but at least it'll hopefully protect this artillery a little bit. Zhukov, I don't know. So let's see what else we do. But the interesting thing, so that's the tank resupply that I just did is not listed in like the reinforcements or replacements pages. It's listed in the Workers' Brigade special units for the Soviets. So it's just, I don't know if that's just an old way of organizing that feels like nonsense to me, but that's something that's been a little bit of a, problem's a strong word, but it makes it difficult with this game because there's a lot of, as I keep mentioning, asymmetry. So which means there's some chrome there, and the rules aren't always laid out in the best way to make that most accessible. Well, I should say at least to me, and again, it could be some of my own failings. It could also be the fact that I play turns once every other month or something, so I'm not internalizing the rule book. But yeah. Okay, so another thing that happens at the end of the turn is we get, I think, a bunch of militia replacements. Let me double check that. Okay, so we get 3 in the southern area, which I think is marked off by this red. Oh no, wait, how do they mark it? We get, so that's west, south. So we're going to get 3 in the southern area. We get 11 in central, 3 in northern. So let me double check how the Soviets are blocked. Honestly, it might be by the rivers, but let me double check that. Got another German unit because I was not organized. Okay, another rule is that you can only have, I think, 30 militia units on the map at any one time, so that number is capped. So I found a dead pile of militia, so I'm just going to sort of allocate the ones I have left. They can, and then that's all they can do. And I think for the sake of argument, I will use, say, this river that's north, this river to, say, that river is central, and that's south. I think I'll break it down that way. So I'll add 3 militia units to the south. So I guess they're going to immediately get stomped, but oh well. Fantastic. You know what? I can do 3 in the north, so let me do that. And I'll do the remaining in the center. Okay. Then one of the next steps in the end of turn is to check to see if the Soviet oil has started burning. Okay, again, it's one of those weird things. Now, the oil it's something you do in the final reaction phase, but it's not in that section of the Soviet rules. You go to the effects of terrain, and under the special terrain hexes, then you find the oil tanks, which is in hex 1535. Now, 1535 is, let's see, it's going to be down here, right there, oil tanks. So what we do is we roll a d6. We rolled a 5. A 5 means no effect. A roll of 6 would mean the oil tanks had ignited, and then the hex becomes impassable for a turn. Some other things happen. But in this case, the oil tanks did not ignite, so that's good to go. After that, that might be all you do at the end of the turn, and so I won't bore you I won't bore you further. What I need to do is I need to make sure every unit on the map is flipped over to their white text side going into turn 2, and then I'm ready to run through those first steps. I'll cover the bombardment, the air stuff that I screwed up recording with the blurry footage. And then once I do that, I've basically covered, for better or for worse, generally speaking, a full turn of this game. So you could sort of see how the minutia plays out. And then I might sort of record things as they come. Maybe not literally every step. Maybe, recaps at the end of a phase or a turn, or if something interesting happens, just pop it in, talk it through, pop back out. So that's the end of turn 1, and we'll be moving to turn 2 hopefully pretty soon.